Welcome to another episode of AutoFix Advisor Cast with your host, Michael Doherty, sponsored by WorldPack and the WorldPack Training Institute. WorldPack is your go-to source for automotive insights and great parts. Be sure to check out worldpack.com for the latest in auto parts distribution and WTItraining.com to explore training programs that can take your career to the next level. Stay connected and visit their Facebook page or join the community at the STX Training Expo by following this group. Also, don't forget to mark your calendars for the 2026 WorldPack STX, August at the Gaylord Inn in Washington, D.C. It will be a can't miss event. Service Advisor Nation, good evening, and I hope you're doing well. It is East Coast time, maybe 9:20 p.m. What a day, what a day, what a day. So I watched a movie not too long ago. The movie's old. It's called Pulp Fiction, and it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. And in that movie, there's a scene, and I'm not condoning the scene of the movie, but made me think of Service Advisor's role. And that scene was, if you've seen the movie Pulp Fiction, there's a gentleman that they call, and the actor that portrays the person in the movie, the actor's name is Harvey Keitel, and Harvey Keitel plays Winston Wolfe. And Winston Wolfe is a problem solver. Long story short, in the movie, they got into a pickle. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle a particular situation. So they called in the big gun. They called in Winston Wolfe, professional problem solver. And I really feel that as service advisors, that is what we do. We're professional problem solvers. And other things that we are to our clients and our coworkers are therapists, we're client advocates. We are on the front lines going to war with extended warranty companies, fighting for the maximum to help the client. We're mediators, all encompassing. We're who we need to be to build and maintain client relationships. And again, that's why I think we're professional problem solvers. We have so much going on a daily basis that is just information overload from clients, coworkers, parts, you name it. It's coming at us at rapid speed. And I really feel that we need to, and we do, we compress all that information, compile all that information, and try to generate the best outcome for the client, the shop that we're working with or for, and ourselves. And it's very tough to do. And part of the reason I say professional problem solver is because we're tasked with those things on an everyday basis. It's finding out little things. It's figuring out things to prevent them from becoming bigger things. It's solving problems for clients, right? So I think first and foremost, we are a customer service industry. We're a customer service industry, and we do automotive repairs. 99% of what we do is client care and building and maintaining client relationships. And a large part of that is communication. But the other part of that I didn't really understand until most recently with the communication aspect is getting into comprehension. And what I mean by that is when you're speaking to a client, when you're talking with a coworker as a service advisor, the comprehension part of the communication that you're having is that person, that you're speaking with, are they, understanding what you're talking to them about? And reason I say that is we have a morning meeting at the shop that I work with, and some of the stuff is run of the mill. We may talk about, hey, we would like to see the technicians use seat covers more often. We would like to see the technicians use the fender covers that we've purchased that are very nice and protect the client's car. And, at 9:30 in the morning, the meeting isn't bad, but the focus there is really just kind of touching on basics and what we're going over for the day. But again, it's comprehension. It's communicating, but with comprehension on both sides. And we've had some client online appointment requests lately where I work. And as part of that, excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink real quick. And as part of that information that the client fills out, aside from their name, their contact number, their email, your make and model is a section for them to describe their concern or concerns to us. And we recently had a client who had an online appointment request for a Mercedes. And in her online appointment request, she specifically detailed that she wanted her tires to be checked out. This particular client has had habitual issue with loss of air pressure in her tires. Since she has been a client, I want to say honestly, it's probably been 4 visits over the past 2.5 years with tire issues. And the client didn't specify, but my gut is saying that the holidays are coming up. She wanted to get in for an appointment, have the car checked over. And my gut was saying she wanted it road ready. She wanted it road ready to take a trip. She didn't specify that, but knowing the client pretty well, that's what I felt. But I wasn't the one who made the online appointment request and transferred that information or that communication to the technician on an RO or an invoice to be dispatched. It was a coworker. And a large part of the information the client provided us was not transferred to the technician. The day that the vehicle came in, the client had additional concern. She had mentioned that the check engine light came on the morning she drove the vehicle into us, and she described it as the car was shaking and wanted to know if we could check that out as well. I told her absolutely. I would have the service advisor get in contact with her that morning to give her a price for having it checked out for the check engine light, and we go from there. I kind of lost track of time. I wasn't in the shop at the moment the car was being looked at, but I was test driving another vehicle for a client or a technician that got done with the repair. And when I pulled that vehicle back into the shop, I saw that the client was speaking about earlier that had the specific issue about the tires. Her vehicle was up on the service lift in service position. And I asked the technician, because I pulled up right next to him, I said, "Hey, what's going on with the tires?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I saw the online appointment request and the client specifically had some questions about the tires. She seemed concerned." And he kind of had this blank look on his face. And I said, "So you didn't see any indication of that on the RO?" And he goes, "No." And I said, "Well, let me make sure I'm talking about the right one." So we went into my office, looked up the client online appointment request, and saw the information about the tires. And we're able to provide some answers to the client at that point. But between the client providing the information to us via email, from the service advisor making the RO and sending it back to the technician, again, transfer of information, that information was not on the RO. And that could have been a big issue. That could have posed a problem if the client's car was in for a specific concern on top of some other things that we did not assess for her. So when that service writer came back that afternoon from her lunch break, we talked with her about the need to get the information to the technician as far as communication goes. But as far as the comprehension aspect, it was really letting that person know, the service advisor, why we needed her to provide that information to the technician. And again, it's comprehension with communication. But most recently, my son, he's got an older BMW. He's got a 2007 525i. And I've been telling him for 4 months, "Son, your car needs tires." He works part-time. He goes to college part-time. I've been asking him to save some money up. He's going to need tires. To be proactive, probably every 2 weeks, I'm out in the driveway checking and adjust tire pressures. We've had a little bit of cold snap here and there. But Saturday, I was out in the driveway checking his tire pressures, and the front tires are actually starting to come apart. I went inside. I said, "Son, remember we talked about you needing tires 4 months ago? It's time. It's time for tires." So we got on some tires. And while the technician was doing the tires at the shop that I work at, and I really appreciate him doing the mountain balancing, he had pointed out to me that 2 of the wheels look like eggs. They're not round anymore. He said, "Mike, they're not round. Come check this out." And sure enough, they look like eggs. So I asked him, for the time being, could we please put those egg wheels in the back of the vehicle to minimize vibration? But I took pictures and I shared that information with my son via text. and spoke about it more when I got home and actually showed him the pictures, communicated to him about the importance of watching out for potholes, curb surfing, things of that nature. But again, communication, but comprehension while I'm talking to him about that, making sure he understands why it's important to avoid those things. And I know it sounds like common sense stuff, it really does, but for somebody that's not really car savvy, coming from a dad who's in the industry, it's a little bit of a challenge getting that information across in a manner that he will understand it, comprehend it. So I feel after having that conversation with him, he had a better sense, a better awareness of what was going on with the vehicle and whatnot. So he took the vehicle, got going on down the road, and maybe a half hour later, I called him. I said, "Do you feel a difference with the new tires?" And he said, "Yes." And he said he appreciates it. So glad he got the tires. To be honest, he bought two. I bought two. Want to help him out where I can. But again, communication and comprehension of communication. Uh, WorldPack has been a great sponsor to us. We also have two other sponsors. They're 0.5% of sponsorship. One is Callahan Brake Pads out of Sandusky, Ohio. If you're going to be placing an order, a bulk order over $1,000, please ask for Tommy. And also, we have a 0.5% sponsorship with AutoFix-Auto. They manufacture cross-drilled brake lines and left-handed hammers. So maybe stocking stuffers for automotive people in your life, family members, friends, this coming Christmas. So again, Callahan Brakes and AutoFix-Auto, we appreciate your 0.5% sponsorship. And thank you so much. Other things to talk about this week has been just a interesting week for me. To be totally honest, the company that I work with, that I've been working with for over 15 years, today was my last day with that company. Totally amicable, but I decided to take a leap of faith and do some other things, but maintain in the automotive realm, in the automotive industry. So news updates will be coming out shortly about those happenings, but I will be working remote from home. That'll be interesting. I had mentioned to my wife when we made the decision for me to accept the position that I'm going to be starting on Monday, this coming Monday, the 25th. I had mentioned to her that I would be working remote, and she got all excited and said, "That sounds great." And she goes, "What's involved with that?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to be home more. I'm going to be home a lot more and working upstairs." And in a very jovial, joking manner, said, "It'll be great. I'll be up here working, and maybe around 12:30, I'll send you a text, and maybe you'd be so kind to, make me a sandwich." And the look I got was the look that could have cut Superman in half. The red eyes, the red beams just cut me in half. So, um, so I figured I'll probably just get a mini fridge, stock it full of water, non-perishables, some Uncrustables, and lock the door. And that way I can avoid what I think she thinks is going to happen with this remote position. But I'm very excited. I'm still going to be doing the podcast, the Service Advisor podcast. I've been a service advisor for so long and have so much information and want to help people. Really feel touched, though. One of the technicians that I spoke with today out in the parking lot as I was kind of wrapping things up, cleaning my office out, whatever, he had come up to me and he said, "Michael, I'm not really good at explaining my feelings, but I just want to let you know that you are the best service advisor that I've ever worked with." And I don't, when I heard that, I didn't feel cocky. I felt touched. I felt, wow, I've been able to help this individual. And he's worked for some other companies that maybe didn't treat him well or didn't have a good experience working with a service advisor, technician, bond relationship, whatever. And it's so important to, again, as service advisors, really get to know your technicians that you're working with, really bond with them. Just, yeah, sometimes, well, at work when you can, but just get to know them better, on a personal level and what makes them tick, grievances, pet peeves, whatever. But when he said that to me, I just really was floored. And I said, "Thank you so much." And he said, also, he goes, "You're one of the nicest human beings I think I've met." And I just, again, take that just so wow, that just made me feel great. So again, being a service advisor, being in the customer service industry, and having a coworker, actually a friend. It was a coworker, it's a friend, it's a family member. And even though I'm not going to be working there anymore, I still hold that place in high regard, hold him in high regard. But again, moving forward with other great things, opportunities in my life, and the shop that I did work for, I will continue to promote them, market them, try and help them where I can, and I really hope that they do well. But again, just excited about the upcoming events, and again, more news about that in coming episodes. But tomorrow, I actually have a podcast with Chris Cotton, who is the owner of AutoFix, and that is going to be a great conversation, a great podcast to tune into. We're hoping to do 2 episodes in one, but I've never done a podcast with him before, and he does great coaching, coaches all across the country, and is very involved with WorldPack training as well. So super excited to work with Chris tomorrow on the old laptop and talk about some cool stuff, and we'll get some more episodes out. But again, Service Advisor Nation, thank you for your time and communication. Communication with comprehension is very important, and I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. And this is Michael Doherty with AutoFix Advisor Cast. All right.